Identity with Tayanika. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Explore Your Identity. I'm Taya Yus. Here we have conversations about life experiences and perspectives that have shaped who we are. I've got an amazing guest with me today. She's been a community activist for over 40 years. She is also the CEO of Kumba Imani Millennium Center. She has got so many things that she's done that I'm personally impressed by, and I'm going to leave all that for her to talk about. Michelle Chatters, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for the invite, and to your listeners, thank you for listening in advance.
Awesome. I always like to start with a little bit about your background, any childhood experiences or anything both positive and negative that you feel like shaped who you are today.
Yeah. Well, I was born in 1962, so I'm 60 years of age. I was born to Pamela and Ronald, and my mother was white, my father was from Barbados. And I think one of the earliest things that I remember was the discrimination that they faced. Because as a baby, as I got older, my mum told me about an incident where, as a white woman pushing a black child in a pram in the 1960s, she faced horrific, experiences. And the worst one for her was where she was pushing the pram, and I supposedly was there. There's a little young baby with really curly hair, looking all supposedly angelic. Her words, not mine. And someone spat at me and cursed her out and said to her, you know, white woman, prostitute of a black man. And so it was from an early age that I realised that there was real issues in our human experience, and that the prejudice and discrimination was a real impact in this city, and it affected people, it affected individuals, and it also affected both black men and women and white women who chose to be around black men.
At what age do you think you really had that awareness?
Well, my mum told me that story really young, so I must have been about 10, 11, when she was telling us. It was one of those conversations I remember when she was talking to me Auntie Jean. Remember that time when that happened, and I was horrified. 7 years later, I get involved in the Charles Wotton Centre, and I'm surrounded by really key peers who are fighting racism and discrimination and tackling the exclusion that we faced as a community in this city, even though we're one of the oldest and longest continuous black presence cities in the UK and Europe. So at 17, I realised that it's still going on. I realised that doors are still closed. And I realised as well that there's voluntary sector organisations that offer opportunities to black people, and where they want to progress, where we want to, as a community, start to progress into places and spaces that we weren't allowed to go to. So I joined the Charles Wotton Centre on an MST course, and then I'm really fortunate to become a member of staff within the Charles Wotton and to work with some really key individuals. And my activism starts. My understanding, more importantly, begins. Mm-hmm. Because not only am I listening to the, brief conversations between parents or family, I'm actually around a lot of peers, men and women, mm-hmm. who have fought, campaigned, demonstrated, and really started to open the doors for us as a younger generation in terms of understanding our own identity, mm-hmm. understanding black history and its place in the world, and more importantly, starting to pull together a myriad of things that we can do, mm-hmm. to engage initiatives that we can start to, create ourselves for our own unique cultural specific experience. And so I started becoming an activist. I'd say 17 and a half, really.
Wow.
Which I was one.
So take me back to growing up. Would you say that between your parents, did anyone play a key role in you being able to have that strength to feel like this is what I'm going to do? I'm going to, obviously you didn't realize you were being an activist, but was there like any key figures in your childhood that kind of gave you that strength? Because it's not easy.
My parents, my father is Ronald Gilks, who was a well-known activist himself.
Oh.
And he, I think it's not until I get into my 30s really that I realise how much alike I am of him, and I'm doing similar things that he did, and I'm working in ways that he did. But it's my mother, surprisingly, my white mother, who instills in me and her other children, the importance of, one, understanding, education, and not just formal education, but, informal, by reading, by looking outside of, just family and community, by understanding how everybody has a part to play in society. So there's a mixture of the both of them.
So
I'm very fortunate.
At 17, here you are on this new journey. Take us through, like, where...
I'm a little angry 17-year-old who all of a sudden realises that, sits there watching television and goes, hang on a minute, there's no black people on the television.
Yeah.
And, criticising what isn't happening.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel angry at the time.
Yeah.
But the other thing that it made me feel is determined. And that determination is the thing that's kept me going for the last 40 years. The determination to make change, the determination to participate, the determination to share my experiences and to learn from others. I truly believe that every single day is a learning opportunity. There's no expert in no field, because we're looking at a society that, like in terms of historical context, Black history is being made and uncovered every single day. So you can't say, you can say, yes, I've studied for so many years, but we're making history all the time. I think we're also uncovering the facts of our history, and that's absolutely critical and crucial to be able to have valid conversations that have got primary source evidence that show that maybe when someone's saying something, it's not right.
Yes.
And you've got the evidence to prove it. So I think that over the years, I've been really fortunate. I've been surrounded by some amazing peers. I've worked alongside some amazing colleagues, and I've got really good friends. So I've got a good balance.
So because your journey is like 40 years, a 40-year journey of activism, what are some of the challenges that you've kind of faced along the way? Because I'm sure there's many.
There's a half an hour interview isn't going to cover.
Yeah.
What we've faced. What I can say is what the impact has been and what we've created.
Yes.
So the Charles Wotton education resource, it truly educated not only me, but hundreds of others who went on either into activism or went on into professions and academia. There's also, from there, I learn and understand the importance of playing your role within community and offering the community what you're good at as an additional tool for engagement. So I go from the Charles Wotton, I then move into Elamu, which at the time was a small project that became a academy, that became an independent Ofsted registered school, headed by Gloria Hire MBA.
Oh, yes.
So I'm there, and I get another learning journey and curve from my time at Elamu. I take that information from both the Charles Wotton and Elamu, and I put it into an organisation called Novas that had come from London into Liverpool and invested in what you now know as and see as the Contemporary Urban Centre on Jamaica Street.
Oh, yes.
when I became a community development and regeneration worker, the manager for Novas, that was just a building. That was an empty building that had buddleia plants growing out of it that we called the buddleia. There was also no other projects in that area, in the Baltic Triangle, what you now know as the Baltic Triangle. Yes. So it was Novas really, through our local knowledge and their money, that we create what you see today as a contemporary urban centre, which then kind of really supercharges the idea that people can work and set up projects there. And I heard a few weeks ago someone saying in I think it was like the internet, we started the Baltic, and I thought, no, you never. Mm-hmm. Because there was work, Novas had invested and had a building on that site for years before anybody else really started to invest and to push. So that's one thing that I can't stand. I can't stand when people take credit.
Yes.
And that's why it's always good to have the knowledge, to have the experience, and more importantly, to have the proof to show when things changed and when things started to change in Liverpool for us as a community.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to kind of move on to your current path, where you are now. But I know in terms of your work with the Kumba Imani.
Well, if I start, I've got my path's not. It's not that. I say it's not that important, but I know that a lot of the work I have done has made a difference alongside people that I've worked with. So we talk about LMU, we talk about Novas. I then move into Cumber. So from a employment perspective, I go into Cumber, which is kind of like fate and quite weird, really, because whilst I was at the Charles Wotton, I was a member of the Liverpool Black Sisters, which worked in a basement in the Charles Wotton Centre.
Is it okay if you tell us a little bit about that
I can
before
tell you
you
a little
move
bit,
on?
Yeah, because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And Liverpool Black Sisters that needs a documentary, not a half an hour interview.
I think so.
But Liverpool Black Sisters in the Charles Wotton is running from a basement. They've been going for a while. They were called something else and changed to Liverpool Black Sisters. They work from the basement. They start to address the issues for black women and for white women with black children. They offer some support systems, but they're really renowned for their campaign and for their demonstrating and for also looking at cultural specific needs and addressing those needs. Unfortunately, it's from basements, and the only time that they go from a basement is they move into a coach house, and I mean a coach house, a small coach house by Grove Street. But then they're really fortunate to move into the basement again of the Liverpool 8 Law Centre, which was a super important voluntary sector organisation for the community that dealt with the legal support that we required, as well as education. So they're in the basement of the Liverpool 8 Law Centre, and the opportunity comes through Millennium Commission funding and ERDF funding to get some capital funds for 10 black organisations across the country. And so the staff and the board at that time, said, right, that's it, we're going for our own building. They'd already identified the site, and they start the work to develop with all the partners they've made and all the supporters that they've created over that. By that time, it must have been about 2 decades of work. They pulled together 3.2 million to build what you see today as the Cumber Millennium Centre. So I, in honour of the contribution of so many black women and partners and men and everybody who supported the Liverpool Black Sisters in the initial period, I always acknowledge that Cumber Millennium Centre is the legacy of the work of the Liverpool Black Sisters. They knew that we needed our own space, they knew that we needed our own place, and it was really in a prominent position. It's the only new build on Princess Road and Princess Avenue, that boulevard, that historical boulevard. It's on the main thoroughfare into the city, out of the city. It has a lot of traffic, but also it's quite ironic that it's on a building. It's on the land where the first African federal club was established.
Wow.
So
Historic.
yeah, so it's got historic men, historic women, all wrapped up in this building. So it's been an honour and a privilege, a real privilege, to head it up over the last, we're coming up to 18 years now.
Wow.
It's a long time,
Yes.
but it's a really amazing community resource. It's gone through changes as it has had to. You know, in terms of audit and review, you have to constantly check how your business is going.
Yes.
And if something's not working, changes need to be made. But it's at a really good place at the moment. We've got 6 tenants, all charities, except for the MP, who's got her constituency office there, and they all work with the most vulnerable in society. So we support people from mental health. You know, there has been through disabilities, there's been refugee asylum seeker support, there's all kinds that goes on. We've just recently got a new tenant called Merseyside Law, who are now giving free pro bono legal advice to people who require that additional help. So Cumber Marnie has become a multicultural, multi-purpose community resource.
That's what I see from it. It's very multicultural.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful space, the building, just driving
It's an
past.
expensive space.
Oh, yeah, you can tell.
And it's not being helped by British Gas at the moment, but
Yeah.
let's not go down that route.
Yes.
At the end of the day, what it is, it's a space for the community. It's had, when they built the building, they acquired a 125-year lease. We are only 20 years in next year, so we've still got 105 years of a lease for the community and the community resource. So it's an important space in that sense. Hopefully we'll see lots of change. In terms of what we've done and what we've created at Cumber, not only have we been a tenant to other key charities, but we've also, more recently, because to be quite truthful, for the first 14 years, I was just working to protect the building and to keep the building for the community. And it's not until 2018 that I actually go to the National Lottery and ask for money to start to do some community development work, rather than, just running a building. And so, but in running the building, what I identified was what was required in the community. And one of the things that was required was community activism.
Yes.
And so I was talking to a funder, a local funder, John Moore's Foundation, and they said to me, "But Michelle, you're a community activist. What would you have liked if you had the opportunity to just ask for anything?" And I said, "Training. I would have loved to have got some training." We just did it. We did it, from the heart, from the soul. I said, but there is things that I'd love to have learned, like public speaking, bringing people together, like reconciliation. So I said, I know. I'll come up with an idea. So I came up with an idea called L8 a Better Place. And it was to make L8 a better place.
Yes.
Which
it already is.
It's a fabulous
no
place.
bias.
Yeah. But it was to make sure that the community had the opportunity to say what they wanted, not for us as an organisation to dictate what we felt they needed. So I went to the lottery and I said, give me some money and I'll aim to get 15 community activists interested and trained and, available for the community. And I'm really pleased to say that in the years that we've been running L8 a Better Place, there's over 200 people who have been involved in either training, activism. They've been involved in our projects, and they've actually gone on to deliver their own projects. So at the moment, we've actually got a number of projects within the organisation, but we've also got, which I'm really proud of, is the reputation now of being able to deliver some key events. And if I can add that 40 years of work's gone down to 2 little pieces of paper.
Nice.
I'm 60 years of age, so please don't expect me to remember numbers. But what we have got at Cumbernamarny is we've got the NEA Black Business Support,
which I was a part of. Was it 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lovely event as well.
Yeah. So we've got business support for black businesses, and we act as a connector between the individual or the business and the wider business economy, the public and private sector. And that's come out of research that we did, that we were commissioned by the Liverpool City Regent, Steve Rotherham, to deliver. And we ended up giving him back an 80-page document that said why black businesses feel they're not included.
Was that
in
with
the
Gloria?
City region. Gloria Hyatt and as
I think I do remember she did get in touch during the research process.
Her and also the Women's Org. So we were the lead, we were the ones who pulled it together. They were the two that delivered it, and we're really proud of that collaboration between the three of us. And we did a really up-to-date document. And out of that has now come that commitment from Cumber to employ Saba Ahmed to be the business connector for the Cumbernamarny, but more importantly for the people.
Yes.
We've got a number of projects that have been going since 2018. So Coffee at the Cumber is a monthly sit round the table. It's organisations who come and talk about issues that affect them and how they can share information or, share opportunities. We've got Conversation Cafe, which happens every Monday, and held by a number of volunteers who were all volunteers and participants who are now activists in their own right, and they've took that onto another level. We've got the mentoring law programme. We did that as a pilot, and we managed to get barristers to support and mentor young and some old people in the community who had an interest in getting into law. That was an 18-month project, and that was done in collaboration with Exchange Chambers. Exchange Chambers expanded that to Manchester and Leeds to their other offices because they saw the benefits of the Liverpool pilot. So we're really pleased about that. We've just recently, and only last week, seen the final product of Joe Ramsden, one of our community development workers who's got an interest in interfaith and bringing faiths together. So the interfaith tour that took place last week was a major collaboration between Cumbernamarny's community development, Joe Ramsden, and Faith for Change and all of the faith groups in our immediate vicinity. So the synagogue, the mosque, the Greek Orthodox Church, and the Christian churches.
Nice.
So that's just happened, and we kind of expected, we called it the Faith Walk, and we expected about maybe 15 to 20 people. Over 150 people came on that walk. So that was like super exciting. We've also been doing some education support and mentoring in schools. So that's going really well. And our other member of staff, Kobe I.O. Hudson, is actually kind of taking the lead on working with the schools and helping young people and the school system to understand the needs of the children that they've got going into their system. Is
there a particular area in terms of the schools that you're working with,
it's
all around?
It's whoever
has the need.
We say L8, but we don't. We would go outside because the main thing is it's about if someone's saying they need or they want or they're interested, then you don't knock them back just because we're called L8. It's about, and also the other thing is that the black community isn't just based in L8 anymore.
No.
It's expanded into the north and the south. So, and the other thing we've had for a long time, our WhatsApp group, L8 Organisations WhatsApp, which has got 128 participants from all sectors, including a few councillors and the MP. So, at a moment's notice, I can get a message out to 128 organisations or representatives of organisations.
Wow.
And
That's very good influence.
Yeah, that was really tested during COVID.
Yes.
When there was a spike of COVID in the Princes Park ward, and we needed to get the information out to other groups with language, in terms of different languages, and by City Council connecting with us on our L8 WhatsApp, organisation's WhatsApp, we were able to very quickly convert the health message from the council into specific, I think it was a 4 or 5 different languages, and get them out. So people knew not to take that risk and go out in that period of a spike. We've done loads of training courses, and the training courses includes activism, but it also includes reconciliation. So we're in the process now of developing a new training package that will come out of Cumber around our last 5-year journey. And we've done, I'm so pleased with this one, digital inclusion. And we've recently linked up with the Furniture Resource Group and distributed over 50 computers to families and individuals who could not afford
that
it,
is a
but
very
needed
good
it.
initiative.
But also by working with I Am the Code, we've just distributed 10 coding computers. So, we're thinking about the next generation technology, the areas that they're thinking of getting into. And we've also, to finish it off, we've done some mental health research. So same way as we did the business one, and out of the business came the opportunities for a new member of staff. Out of that came opportunities for black businesses to get their products into some of our key organisations and sectors in the city. We'll be publishing the mental health research in the next few weeks to see the impact on black people around mental health, and we've done that in collaboration with our key partners. So overall, we've only had the opportunity to talk about Cumber, but I have been involved as an individual and as a woman. I've been involved in, I was the chair of Black History Month.
I do remember the magazine.
That was
really good.
Diverse Liverpool's came
Why
out.
Why did you stop?
Well, we were a collective of people, and Diverse Liverpool magazine came out of that committee, that steering group, that group of people. We then allowed Garth Dallas to use it as a tool for him to use as promoting, and he did such a good job of promoting organisations and individuals. It stopped because for other things that stopped it was about money. It was about, people investing, and that's why, and the resources. The other thing that I'm really pleased with, there's 2 other things really quickly. I was the first ever black trustee of the Everyman and Playhouse Theatres, and I helped to kind of really sort of change how that theatre looked and how it felt, and to offer some opportunities. And I've been involved with National Museums Liverpool since 1994.
Amazing.
From the day that I walked into the basement. It's about black people in basements. But when I walked into the basement of...
I guess that was the safest place.
Well, it was a gallery exhibition of the Transatlantic Slave Gallery.
Yeah.
And I remember very fondly Dorothy Kuya saying to us, this can't be a temporary exhibition, we need our own space. And so since 1994, I've been a constructive, critical friend with solutions of the museum, and I've helped, alongside many others, to develop what you see today as the International Slavery Museum. Wow. So 5 years ago, I was super pleased to be asked, I'm very, very privileged, to be asked to become a trustee of National Museums Liverpool. So not just a trustee of the ISM, but a trustee of the 7 organisations and museums that we represent and that we manage. And that has been a brilliant journey, especially over the last 5 years, because we've now got the Canning Dock development, which is a multi-million-pound development, which is happening just down the road from here. and will offer so many key opportunities to not only the city, but to the citizens. And when I say citizens, I mean all citizens. And more importantly, it will open up the factual history of Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I do remember you did the exhibition at the Slavery Museum,
Yeah.
and I showcased my lovely fascinators.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same time they did like the libation or
Yeah, well, we've got
ceremony.
the Slavery Remembrance Day coming
Yes.
up next week.
Okay.
So it's a whole week of events
Activities.
And activities. But we've been doing that, for a long time.
Annually.
And it's an annual event. And next week, the Dorothy Kuya lecture at the Town Hall will be done with Dr. Hakeem Addy, the gentleman who's just been told at Chichester College that they're stopping the black studies and therefore stopping his job, in essence. So he'll be coming and sharing with us at Liverpool what's been going on for him, and hopefully, be able to get some support from people in Liverpool. So we've done a lot. I've done a lot.
Yes.
That's just a little snippet. But I have an open door policy at Cumbria, so if people want to learn more about, what we've done. The other thing is that you asked about on the questions that we haven't got through.
Yes.
But you asked in your questions about what have you got in your handbag.
Yes.
And I'm going to share, if you don't mind,
Yes,
with your
well,
audience.
actually, we're going to go through these now. So, yes, that will be the first.
This is what I have in my handbag
is
all
it?
the time. I have books and books and books, and every single day for everything I've done goes into those books. So this is my Cumber book.
Okay.
And then I've got my National Museums book, and I've got my Every Man and Playhouse book, and I've got my Novas book. So my intention is that I will write my story. I will tell
You have
my
to
story.
write that story.
And I've got all the proof, not only through these books
But it helps.
of text, it really helps, especially as you're getting older, but
Yeah.
also with all the leaflets, the project plans, the notes, everything that I've ever done will go into a book, and that's my intention for the future, is to
Wow.
write my own story and to leave my my
think
contribution
You are
of how I did
creating
things.
this legacy. You might not be consciously aware of it, but just listening to you,
Yeah.
I can just see this legacy that you've created and that you're going to live in this city and for
Alongside
future generations.
many others, lots
Yes.
of us. Every single black person who's lived in Liverpool, who has contributed in any way, we all leave our legacies, and it's for progression with purpose. It's to ensure that our beautiful city that I love, I've lived in New York, I've lived in London, but I love Liverpool, and I want Liverpool to be the space and the place that we want to be in. I love that we can now, as an older person, and because of the work that's gone on, not only from me, but for many, many others, both north and south of the city, that we feel a lot more comfortable going into other parts of the city that we did.
Yes.
When my poor mum was pushed me in a pram and I got spat on.
Wow. So just to wrap it up, so you've answered my first fun question, fashion related, was about what unusual item you've got in your handbag, but I've actually learned something from it, so I might just
Copy.
yes.
Go for it. That's what I always say. I tell everyone to do.
Yeah, no, it's such a good idea. My next fun question is there any item of clothing that you emotionally attached to?
Yes, there is. I've got a full-length shearling coat.
Oh.
It's like literally a massive down to the floor.
What, is it
And
velvet?
no, it's shearling.
Oh.
Shearling like lamb.
Oh,
lamb?
yes. Yeah.
Sheepskin
Like a
shearling.
cold
It's got a
neck.
massive neck. It's from the 1980s.
Oh, nice.
It was a gift from my husband, Larry Smith, who he was a record producer, and he worked in and out of New York and Japan and England, everywhere. And when I was pregnant with my eldest daughter, who's now 36,
Yeah.
he'd bought this coat for me because we was living in New York, and he wanted to keep me warm and keep the baby warm. And to this day, I've still got that coat. So
wow.
it needs to be fixed. So I want to go to the repair shop or somewhere.
Yeah, no,
not
bring
to be
it to me.
fixed. It needs to
I'll
be
do it with
conditioned.
love.
Yeah.
Oh, like dry clean and
yeah. It's still I can still wear it. But it's a very extravagant coat. But it's a beautiful coat. But I love that as a piece of clothing, and I'd never get rid of it. And the kids are all fighting about who's going to take it, not because of what it looks like or the material, but because of the love and what it represented. That he was trying to protect both his wife and his child in the harsh winters of New York.
Oh, nice.
So that's my favourite.
And what is your definition of fashion, if you have one?
I think I'm absolutely super impressed with your fashions. I love them. I'm like, it's great to see.
Thank you.
That's that quality and standard of fashion in Liverpool from a black designer. So
thank you.
Lots and lots of big up to you. In terms of, I love African materials, and I absolutely love to see our black designers using them as to make a statement. I love making statements, and I love to see black people making that statement and retaining culture.
Yeah.
And I like casual. As I'm getting older, the short, tight went a long, long time ago. So I like loose
Comfort.
And baggy and comfy and flat.
But the young people like that too. I'm finding that the genders, they like all the loose fitted stuff, and
it is.
It's comfortable.
It's like, forget the tight, up your bum stuff. I don't do that anymore. Didn't really do it when I was younger, but I certainly don't do it now. So it's like, you keep on doing those amazing designs. I remember when we were at Janice D. Stopes' Black Girls Brunch, when you walked in, I just was like, wow, with your outfit.
I do love having fun with clothes.
No, I'm glad that you love having fun with clothes. I just need to have some time to literally come into your shop. On
anytime. I know you're very busy.
No, I am sometimes, and sometimes when I'm not busy and I go past, I'm like, oh, it's shut.
What do you like shopping for?
I want, really,
just in general, not just clothes, but
not
just in general.
And I'm really, when we were coming here, and you told me about how you're supporting other black designers now to sell their clothes and items from there. I love that. So I will definitely be coming to your shop, and I will be, encouraging others, and hopefully, Saba.
Yes.
We're pulling together that directory of black businesses. And
she'll be in touch. I thought I'd have an opportunity to have a conversation with her at the last event, the Pace Setters one, but I was kind of busy between my stall and doing the fashion show. And
just organise a meeting with her. Yeah. That's what Saba's going around now, collating information and making sure. And that, like I said, this is about information sharing.
Yeah.
We are not gatekeepers, so everything that we get, all the information that and the opportunities that that come to Cumber, we share them out constantly. So we want you to be part of that.
Definitely, I'd love it to come.
That free directory, we will be charging for it, and we'll be sharing it because we want black businesses and the black economy to grow.
Yes. Oh, nice. And what do you hate shopping for? I know what I hate shopping for. Food.
Yeah, it's getting worse now. The economy is killing us all. But what do I hate shopping for? I'm not really a shopper, and you're not going to believe this, but I have never, ever, ever shopped online.
Oh, wow.
So I think I'm one of the only women, most probably in Liverpool, that hasn't shopped online. My daughters do. But I do not.
The amount of online shopping I did in lockdown, I think that's when I got a bit of an addiction to online shopping.
I was really lucky. I was like, I'm not even going there. So I've not even bought a pen off an online shop.
Oh, you're very disciplined.
So I like going into shops.
Yeah.
I love going into shops. I love the interaction. And I like the whole harassment of having to take it back if it doesn't fit. Or it's uncomfortable.
See, that's what I avoid. I get people to try on stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm like, just try it on. So
that way it doesn't come back.
It helps.
No, that really helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
But if you, like me, if I'm rushing into a shop, and I'd like to see, the one thing I'd love to see is more black businesses in the city centre. And I think that needs to be our focus. Don't worry, we will work with you You will be in the city centre
Yeah.
soon, because it's so important. We can't have millions of tourists coming through and they don't see. You know, we've been lucky that NML, National Museums Liverpool, has taken on some of our black suppliers as customers.
That's really good.
So they're supporting them, and it's not just about throwing something into their shop. You know, the director of commercials actually working with the individual businesses to make sure that, you know, it's a learning journey for
Yeah,
both,
no, that's really
for both
good.
the museum and the person. So, you know, in Sefton Park Palmhouse, we managed to get some black products in there as well.
Yeah, and
So-
I'm in talks with them because they've got my artwork on the statues.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got like an ongoing conversation.
And also the Blue Coat. So
Oh,
it's
yes.
all
Yeah.
those businesses. But you start there, and then you start to, you know, I think we need to have some kind of conversation with Liverpool One. With the powers that be at Liverpool One and the black.
Yeah,
businesses
not
in
everything
the
helps
city.
because of my work that was at the Palm House. I was able to attend some roundtables with the London Mayor's office because they saw my work I did. So I think everything does help. So yeah, well, last but not least, have you got any fashion related questions for me? I can teach you online shopping. I don't mind.
No, I don't want to do online shopping. I want to keep your money, please. One of the things I'd like to see is the opportunity for people who've got an interest in sewing, but they might not want to do the whole 9 yards. That there's an opportunity for them to learn the basics. Now, Jenny Reid
Yes.
has been excellent at sharing those skills.
She's a good teacher.
She's a very good teacher.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see more people doing it as well.
Yeah, well,
Because Jenny's getting like super busy.
yeah, no,
at the
it's
moment.
really interesting that you say that, because for myself, what's been my interest in has been more like the fashion related apprenticeships, short courses that you're talking. Because one thing I realized is they've got not so much in Liverpool, but talking about the fashion industry as a whole, they have got like these apprenticeships, right, for young people. But what I discovered, myself included, I started my fashion career later on in life. And you find that there's a lot of people that are serious about fashion, but they start it later on, and they don't have that opportunity to do an apprenticeship because it's geared at young people. And I feel like for the fashion industry, the older people are actually more skilled, and they actually know what they want to do and how they want to do it. So I've been kind of looking at it from a wider context as well.
I think if you do classes, you know, as well as serving and showcasing your amazing designs and serving the community with, you know, the opportunity to purchase them, it'd be great to see you doing some giving back, and giving back through like low cost courses, because you've got to take into consideration the, you know, the economic situation for us as a community, in Liverpool. But low cost courses, and it could be, you know, from a pattern, how to read a pattern, to how to make curtains, to how to do bags, shoes. I've been watching. I've just recently got onto TikTok. Not that I'm putting anything on there, but I am scrolling it.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the people who, the shoe repair people, who, you know, a really mingy shoe will turn up, and then they change it into this
bring
amazing
it back to life.
art, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So there's so many elements, but there's also, you know, I think fashion is important in terms of how we look, but I think it's even better when it's in our home. So I want to see lots of African and Caribbean, you know, artwork. I buy Caribbean and African artwork. I've got a few of Michelle Walker, Peter Walker's work, and I'd like to see that we take it seriously. Home,
Yeah, no, definitely.
work, community, and you know, just our special space. So, like I said, Liverpool's a special space. The Liverpool community is special people for me, and you know, the rest of my contribution till the end of my days will always be to offer those opportunities to progress with purpose.
Yes.
And to put my little bit in alongside everybody else. So
amazing.
no one person's an island.
I've had a few lessons from this conversation. One is about continuous learning. One is about purpose. And my new unusual item in my handbag would definitely be my notebook. So thank you so much for allowing me the honor to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Explore your identity with Taimika.